They keep telling you that the WNBA is trending up. And they keep telling you that subtle fixes to the game can improve it for the viewer's experience. Lower the rim and a couple of other things that they're always screaming. But I want to tell you that none of that would matter unless they fix this one thing. What it look like, TV?
I am back! What it do, baby?
YouTube's own Varnell Hill.
Did ya miss me?
And we back with another one, y'all. And today we're going to talk about the WNBA. Now, I got a couple of ideas that I haven't seen anybody in regular media on YouTube either express or bring up. And it's one that I think all their problems stem from this one marketing disaster that they did to themselves. Make sure you watch to the end because, like I said, I touch on a couple points that nobody on the internet has touched on yet. And the first thing, the biggest fault that they have made, and like I said, I blame the marketing department because the marketing department was supposed to do a better job at controlling this. The number one mistake that the WNBA has made is to compare it to things outside of the WNBA. And what I mean by that is the WNBA and the NBA are never supposed to be in the same sentence. They are never supposed to be compared. The WNBA is supposed to pretty much be in its own little box and only compared to the WNBA in its own little ecosystem. Its players are supposed to be promoted the way that the WNBA promotes their players. They're supposed to exist in their own universe. So WNBA could be compared against WNBA. You never wanted the WNBA to be compared and held side by side with the NBA. That's not what you wanted. You did not want the narrative around your league for it to be the best basketball in the world. That's not what you wanted. You wanted your narrative to be that this is great women's basketball. Once you started saying that this basketball was just as good as men's basketball, you shot yourself in the foot. Now, that may catch a lot of people off guard and that may offend some people, but I can explain to you why. And parents, you'll be able to grasp this concept and you'll be able to see exactly where I'm coming from a whole lot more. Now, if you notice, basketball is played on all levels. Basketball is played a couple of different ways, but basketball is played on all levels. Now, as an NBA fan, I can go to a 5th or 6th grade game. I can go to the game. I could watch the whole game. The end score after 32 minutes of playing, the end score could be 11-12. And I could leave that game like, whoo, that was a heck of a game. That was a great game. And really enjoy the game. You can go to a high school game. You can look at the game, you go to the game, you know what I mean, enjoy the game, get through the whole game, and they only scored 50, 60 points in the game, leave the game, and it was a real good game. And then you can go home after watching those two the high school game and the grade school game, you can go home and you can watch an NBA game and you can enjoy that game. Now, those was 3 specifically different basketball games you watched. You watched one on the grade school level, but you enjoyed it. You watched one on the high school level, you enjoyed it. Then you watched one on the NBA level and you enjoyed it. The reason why you were able to enjoy each one of these different experiences was because when you were watching the 6th graders, you were only comparing them to other 6th graders and looking at that game as the 6th grade game and appreciating it for that. You wasn't looking at these little kids like they're the best athletes in the world and, you know what I mean, putting all these expectations in your mind. You was just watching the game, watching them compete, and you enjoyed the competition. Same thing with the high school level. And if you notice, women's college basketball gets a lot of love. And that's mainly because when we watch women's college basketball, we're watching women's college basketball. It's not better than the boys. It's not this. It's not the world's greatest athletes. You're watching women's college basketball, and everyone knows they're watching women's college basketball, and they watch the competition and they enjoy it. But for people just to enjoy the WNBA's product wasn't good enough. We had to be told that this was the best basketball in the world and the most highest level athletes, and on and on and on. So now when people tune in, they are expecting to see that. So this is unacceptable in what they're seeing. You can't expect to tune in for this, and you end up getting this. And the WNBA did it to themselves, being braggadocious because they wanted so much to stand side by side with the NBA instead of just being their own unique item. That's why I say a lot of this is self-inflicted. And now, because you put this out there that this is the best basketball in the world, instead of most people just tuning in and enjoying your product, they're tuning in and they're critiquing your product because they were told that this is just as good as, the next thing and it's the best. And so now instead of just tuning in, people are tuning in, but they're critiquing because they're being told that it's something that it isn't. Like I said, in college, when you're watching the female college basketball game, you're not in your mind subconsciously or consciously comparing it to the NBA game. You're appreciating it for what it is. That kind of brings us into the next thing. Because you put yourself out there as the best product ever, now you have everybody critiquing you. And because everybody's critiquing you, now you have your players on social media pretty defensive, rightfully so, because the sport in which they love and what they love and their league is under attack by all this criticism. But your marketing department and your players put you in this situation by marketing you as the best basketball product ever. So you can see how a lot of this is self-inflicted. And more proof of that point is, do you notice the issue of dunking is not a factor with any female basketball but the WNBA. Dunking never comes into the equation about college basketball. These young boys is dunking in 9th grade and 8th grade. Dunking never comes into the equation in high school basketball for females. The dunk is only a question and only an issue and is only brought up in WNBA. And it's brought up because you told us that it's the same game as the males and you're just as good as the males. And if you're just as good as the males and you're playing basketball, people are going to expect dunks. So that's another way in which you kind of shot yourself in the foot. And because, once again, you're not putting the WA in that box and creating the WNBA, you're trying to mirror the NBA. A lot of the talent in which the WNBA seeks out is just because they're tall. And the proof is in the pudding in the hours and hours and hours of clips that we have of these ridiculously tall women just out here can't even make a layup. When you have tons of smaller females, 6 foot and under, that are highly skilled and can put a heck of a product on the court, you overlook them because you're looking for a physique of an NBA player instead of trying to find what the perfect WNBA player would be for your league. The WNBA is a league of women. It's going to be another controversial point. And a lot of people, nobody has touched on this one, but I got to be real. The WNBA is a league of women. How can a league of women try to sell a product and the product includes no beauty? Y'all act like a beautiful woman is evil. Y'all act like she is the enemy? And beautiful women do not get any shine, and they are not allowed to push products forward anymore. And it's crazy. If you watch these sporting events on TV, you would think that it's no cheerleaders. But if you go to these games in person, you go to an Eagles game, it's like 200-300 cheerleaders in the damn arena. But you would never see one on TV. Why? You know how hard it is to be a cheerleader, to reach that pinnacle, to be a cheerleader for a professional sports team, but it's wrong to show you on TV because you're pretty? And I say that just to say, how do you have a league full of women, but you're not pushing anyone's beauty? Women are the most beautiful creatures on this planet. That beauty is a gift from God. If you could use it to push your league forward, why aren't you using it to push your league forward? Now, let's be clear. When I'm talking this beauty stuff, I'm talking beauty. I'm not talking about selling sexuality. I'm talking beauty. I have to be 100% clear on the internet because people like to take things, flip them, and bounce them. Studies, and we all know that people are more prone to listen to, respond to a more attractive person, whether it's male or whether it's female. And contrary to popular belief nowadays, women like to see beautiful women just as much as men, and vice versa. So let's not try to take this beauty conversation and flip it and bounce it to something that it isn't. That's what I mean. It's like the marketing department of the WNBA is totally backwards. Y'all have an optics and imaging problem that's incredible. Why would I watch the WNBA? And this is going to be the one that hurts and stings. Why would I watch the WNBA, something that I'm told is just as good as the men's, this, that, and the other, when I could watch the NBA? Why would I want the Temu version? Why are you turning yourself into the Temu version of the NBA, WNBA? Doesn't make no sense. You're turning yourself into the Temu or the Wish version of the NBA. So like I said, I think the solution to all this, before we get too long-winded on it, the solution to all this is for the WNBA to start its marketing campaign around the WNBA. Any players in the WNBA should only be compared to former players in the WNBA. The sport of basketball in the WNBA should be defined as a unique game for the WNBA. So when we're watching the game, we are watching the game for a WNBA experience. We are not watching the WNBA expecting to see the NBA. Because that is how we can enjoy a sixth grade game. Because we're not expecting to see the NBA. That's how we can enjoy a college game, because we are not expecting to see the NBA. As long as the WNBA is selling us that it is just as good as the NBA, it will never be successful. Because the facts behind it is simply not. And all you do by saying that it is you make people have to constantly compare your sport to the NBA, which you don't want every time they watch it. But y'all tell me how y'all feel about this one. I got a little long-winded. I don't be writing any scripts. I just be trying to freestyle all this. So y'all tell me how y'all feel. If I missed anything, let me know in the comment section. Let me know if you agree. Let me know if you disagree. But I appreciate you for watching. If you done made it to this point in the video, you are my MVP.
It was a stone groove, my man.
I'm out of here.